All right, everybody, what is going on? We had a data download over on JP and Global Dokkan, so I wanted to go over the new EZA characters that we got here. I just finished CALCS of them. Of course, if you wanted to see the CALCS early and you don't want to listen to me ramble on, you can go just follow me on Twitter, check them out over there. But here they are. These are the 4 characters that we're going to be looking at right here. We got good old Super Vegeta, Android 16, the Cell Juniors, and then AGL Super Vegeta. Sorry, that I wasn't like coughing at this guy for being bad. I was actually just I had something stuck in my throat. No, no. No, you guys aren't gonna believe that. So yeah, I wanted to go over them real quick. We'll go over CALCS. I'm trying to get to the schedule. There we go. This is when they all drop. So what is this? 3 days. You guys can see the countdown right here. If you go to Dokkan info, link in the description, you go to cards and then schedule. It'll show you right here what the countdown is. So you guys can just see this. We do have a world tournament starting in 3 hours. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to play world tournament. Just because I'm going to be really busy this weekend. So we'll see. I will hopefully try to get up to at least 30,000 points, but we will see. So anyway, let's go ahead and start going over these characters. I'm going to use this wiki. I normally use this one. Well, I guess we can just use both. The reason I was going to use this one is because the stats are correct. So see, like Vegeta's stat is 12,610 here, but if I go to this wiki, they have it as 12,260, and I can actually prove to you guys that that's incorrect. I have this little calculator here. Okay, you guys can see this defense column. So this is like these two numbers come from Vegeta. So 5990 is this right here, and then this number right here, this 1815. That comes from right here, okay? So you subtract those two numbers, or you subtract this number from, this number from this number, you get the difference. You multiply it by this number right here, and that gives you the stat boost right here. So this is how much their stats are going to increase after EZAing. You bring back this number right here, then you add in the hidden potential buff, and you can see rainbowed Vegeta should be at 12,610, which is matching this wiki right here, but for some reason Dokkan info shows it as 12,260. Not sure why that is, but it's not a big deal. We can just, I use this wiki for the stat reference, which is the correct one as proven by the math right here. So don't look at these other two columns. Those are from some other unit. It's just this one right here. This is my little worksheet, okay? I've worked hard on this. I just plug in a couple numbers right here, and then it calculates for me. So you guys should set this up too. Then you can just know what the EZA stats for all your characters are going to be. Literally, again, this is from the old Dokkan wiki, the original Dokkan wiki. This is back whenever I made this worksheet. I grabbed these to show like which boxes everything comes from. So that's where this comes from right here. So this is like your max stat if you didn't have any hidden potential system. This is the base stat. Like if you just pulled the card and you're level 1, this is what the stat is. The difference, this is the multiplier right here, 0.4839, and then that's your stat boost. And then you add in like your maximum number plus the stat boost plus the hidden potential buff, and that gets you to your rainbowed stats. Obviously, if you wanted to do 55%, you would change this to 2,000. There's 1010. If you wanted to do some other dupe level, you would just change it. If you wanted to add like a 500 defense equip in here, for example, you would make it like 5,100, etc. So just a fun little tool if you guys are looking to learn how to calc EZA stats. This is the formula for how to do it right there. So let's go ahead and look at Vegeta. Let's read over his kit and talk about it. So immediately we can see that he's getting defense on super attack, which is nice. He still has the guaranteed crits, which is good. He gets 200% at the start of turn. Guard for 5 turns, 100% when performing a super, 50% with each super attack performed. So like on your first super, you're actually going to get 150% on your from supering, and then on your second super, if you double supered, you would go up to 200%. And then this buff right here would actually be active at the start of turn, which is going to be really nice, right? I don't think I worked that into my calcs much, but we can kind of talk about it whenever we actually start looking at those right over here. Let me scroll back up to them, but we'll get to those in just a second. And then you get an additional 50% attack and defense within the same turn after receiving an attack. This will also add into this same set of multipliers right here. So if you're fully maxed out, then you will get 250% after all these buffs are active. So that's 100% when performing a super, 100% totally built up from this, and then 50% here for a total of 250% in your multiplicative passive buff. You guys know, if you've been around before, how I like to talk about these. We have buckets here. So we have our start a turn bucket right here, our passive multiplicative bucket here, and then our super attack effect bucket here, and then our active skill bucket here, which we don't get defense on this, so I'm not, like, this doesn't actually matter, just hypothetically, right? This would be a fourth bucket, so. And then right here, we launch an additional super attack within the same turn after receiving an attack, plus an additional 50% attack and defense, and guards all attacks when there's an enemy whose name includes Cell. That's very nice, right? If you're going up against a Cell enemy. The only unfortunate thing about this right now is that we don't really have any Cell enemies. We do have Cell Max, but Cell Junior and Cell Max are excluded from the Cell designation here. So it's got to be Cell Saga Cell. Or does this count GT Cell? I don't remember. But still, yeah. I mean, this is very powerful, and it's locked behind a Cell, which we don't really have at the moment, which sucks. Stuns enemies, and then he gets the guaranteed stun if you hit him with the super attacks. This was really good for Super Battle Road, and it still will be good for Super Battle Road. So that's good. This you could get some value out of this against like Cell Max, right? Potentially, maybe. I think this guy's going to be pretty decent for the 9th anniversary meta right now, but I am very concerned that this guy's going to age out very quickly because his defense stats are not quite as high as I would like them to be. These are his links, and then these are his best linking partners, just a bunch of other Vegeta units, basically. So let's go ahead and look at him here. His only defensive link, by the way, is Prepared for Battle. Just pointing that out. So let's go ahead and look at him here. Let me do this. And then I guess we can just keep it like this so we can see all 4 boxes at once right here. So what we have going on right here, let me scoot it down. Let me scoot it down just a little, just like a, there we go. Okay, so right here, this is just going to be Vanilla Super Vegeta right here. This is going to be Vegeta with like King Vegeta's 60% passive support, but not the multiplicative support. King Vegeta, by the way, if you didn't know, his 30% support and his, because what is it? It's for Pure Saiyans or Vegeta family, I think is what it is. Let me check. If I just go to Vegeta family, he'll pop up, right? Hello? Where is he? Guys. Oh, no, I should have been, there he is. I was going to say, I should have been more prepared. This buff right here. This stacks. So this becomes 60% if you're on both categories, I believe. So that's where we're getting 60% support from here. I mean, I guess you could throw STR Kaba on here as well and go up to 110%, but let's be realistic. So again, we already talked about his defense stat. That's going to stay the same across the both. 200% leader skill is going to stay the same. Prepared for battle is going to stay the same. And then, so like that's where it stops. So these 3 lines on all 4 scenarios here are all going to be the exact same. You can look, I mean, it's just defense, 200% leader skill, prepared for battle. So those steps are all going to be the same. You just take the defense stat, multiply by 5 for the leader skill, and then multiply by 1.05 for the links. Then right here, this is where we have 200% at the start of turn. And then right here, we have 260% at the start of turn because we're getting 60% support. So that's the only difference between these two right here. And then down here at the bottom, it's going to be higher. We're going to be at 250% at the start of turn, and then 310% at the start of turn here because we're facing a Cell, and we get the extra 50% attack and defense at the start of turn. So that's where that comes into play. I guess I should have added triple super down here because potentially he could triple super if you're fighting a Cell because he gets the additional attack, right? So you could triple super, but either way, I think a double is going to be pretty common, so... So that's what's going on there. So you would multiply by 3 for this start of turn buff, 3.6, 3.5, and then 4.1. As you can tell, that's, 200%. And then you have to add a 1 for the multiplier, just like you would up here, 1.05. Like if you just multiply by 0.05 right here, the number would go down. We want the number to go up, so we have to add the 1. Same idea here. Instead of just multiplying by 2, which would be the buff that we receive from the 200% at the start of turn, we have to add the 1 to include this original value right here. So you'll notice that as you go through this. So if you're looking at this going like, oh, Jordan, you're saying 150%, but you're multiplying by 2.5, it's because this is how you would represent this as a whole number versus a percentage. Anyway... So you multiply by 3, and then on your first super attack, you're going to get 150% because, again, you get 100% just for doing it, and then you get a 50% buildup. Right here, You do get a second build-up of 50% if you double super, and then you get 50% if you receive an attack for a total boost, like I said, of 250%. You can see me kind of doing the tally on the side. So you got 150, 200, 250, and you can see it caps out at 3.5. And then you get 30% on each super attack effect that he does. So he can possibly cap out here at 1.1 million defense with guard, with no support. And I mean, this is just a basic vanilla situation, right? It double super. I mean, yeah, this is all this is. This is a double super and you got hit. So, not too bad. Definitely not the best, but this is what I'm talking about, where it's like, a million defense with guard is not as good as it sounds. This used to like be like a million defense with guard used to be like, whoo, you know, but these days, it's not super crazy. So, and you can see over here, though, I mean, you can start getting up to 1.3 million with Vegeta's support, the King Vegeta support. Which is obviously better. And then if you can cap out kind of what they sell here, just hypothetically, if we were to triple super, you would make this 1.9. And so he could get pretty close to 2 million defense if you were fighting a cell. But fighting a cell is not going to be very common because, again, cell max does not count. So take a moment, pause, ask me any questions if you have any about these calcs right here. Again, we have vanilla, vanilla versus cell, vanilla 60%, and then... well, I guess vanilla, yeah, vanilla 60%, vanilla versus cell, and then versus cell and 60% would be this one. So, again, let me know if you have any questions. By the way, his start of turn defense would be this number right here, and then multiplied by 2 after you got the 100% buff active. So he'd be at about 476k after he got both of his super attacks in, which is pretty decent, right? So, next unit. Let's go over them. Next unit. That's King Vegeta. That's not the next unit. Come on, go back. Int 16. This guy actually looked pretty decent. I don't want to say he's good, but pretty decent here. I probably could have made each of these their own video, but forgive me, guys. I'm gonna try to go through these as quickly as I can. I'm very long-winded, and I am not fast, but if you just want to see the calcs, go to Twitter. I posted them on Twitter already. You can just go look at it. You can ignore me. Please, I encourage it. I am probably not that interesting to listen to, and I also need to drink some water, so give me a break here for half a second. Okay. Android 16, immediately we can see that he's getting 50% defense on super attack, so that's good. Key 2, 160% at the start of turn. Guaranteed guards. Additional 80% when attacking. Okay. High chance to perform a critical hit within the same turn after receiving an attack. Reduces damage received by 16% whenever guard is activated, up to 48%. This is pretty good. Remember, this will activate against tech enemies. So, but I guess it doesn't matter because he's guarding. So, but no, see, doesn't like this count also if you dodge? I think this counts if you dodge. Like, I think your guard is activated even when you dodge, so you can give this guy a full dodge build, and it's not going to hurt you. So that's good. Get up to 48%. I mean, they probably just could have capped this at 50, but whatever, man. 48%, sure. And then right here, this is the important part. Additional 80% attack and 160% defense at the start of turn, and all allies key +3 and 58% attack and defense when your team has a Super Saiyan Gohan Youth or Super Saiyan 2 Gohan Youth attacking in the same turn. That was the big issue with this guy whenever he came out, right? Is that he needed a Gohan, but he's an Android 16, so they don't link at all. Also, this guy sucked, but yeah, we're kind of running into the same issue here, kinda, where there's not really that... Is there a good Gohan Youth right now? Like, you could get by with the AGL one in a few fights right now, maybe, on JP. You might be able to get by with him. But, yeah, I mean, this guy's going to be spectacular whenever we have a Super Saiyan Gohan. Sure would be nice if, old boy here... Where is he? Where is he? Right here. If this guy wasn't just, like, the biggest ball blower of all time, like, sure would be pretty good if he was not gargling. So, let's go ahead and take a look at his calcs here. He's pretty quick. So... we got 16 up here, 16 with 50% support. I just assumed like the physical androids. And then down here would be with Gohan, and then this is with Gohan and 50% support. So you can see there is a pretty drastic change in this guy's defense whenever he has a Gohan versus not having a Gohan. So, I mean, you can see, right? 160% at the start of turn versus 378% at the start of turn, which is, if we go back and look at it, 160% plus 160%, which is 320, and then plus the 58% that he gives all allies. So, because that'll include himself. So that's, we're getting an extra, what is this, 218% attack or defense right there. So, I mean, obviously, obviously you want to Gohan. I mean, and the rest of his kit's pretty simple, right? I mean, 50% on super. There, he gets 80% when attacking in his passive, and then 50% on super, and then if he double supers, you can get up to 1.3. So, I mean, I think you guys can very clearly see the difference between this guy. I don't think I need to go super in depth on him. I just say take a look at it. Same principle as Vegeta. You guys can mess with the links if you want. Like, if you want to add Tough as Nails, go for it. Be my guest. I just did Infinite Energy and Android Assault because I think those are going to be the two most common that you see activated with this guy. And this is what he's going to be looking like on the Android team. Now, the nice thing about the Android team is that it is kind of swimming in support. So it's going to be pretty easy probably to get these like start of turn numbers up a little bit more. So, don't freak out. I think this guy is going to be semi-runnable on the Android team. I mean, he is guarding. He does have damage reduction. So, like, on an Android team, I think this guy could be okay, but he's not going to be like spectacular unless there's a Gohan around. So, I mean, again, you guys can see the difference. But remember, this is with guard. He is guaranteed guarding. You're probably going to give him a full dodge build. He's a sub-EZA banner support unit. Well, he's a sub-EZA banner unit. He can potentially be a support unit. Yeah, and he does get damage reduction. So, once you get guard and damage reduction rolling together, this 890, I mean, this is on a double super. This 667 is going to still be a little bit spooky, but it's not quite as bad as it sounds. And if you get a Gohan, I mean, this guy just kind of becomes like a wall. So, this guy has tremendous upside. It's just a matter of Gohan is not in a great spot right now, and you don't really want a rotation, or you don't want to run a rotation of AGL Gohan in like this 16 because they're just not going to work well together. I mean, I guess he's giving him support, but you guys get it. So, he's fine. He's fine though. I would say he is better now than he was pre-EZA. Like I would say this is good. Guard, damage reduction. Considering this guy was a complete zero before, I'd say he's like okay now. Next up, we got the Cell Juniors. These are going to start going really quickly. They raise attack and defense for one turn. That's a 30% raise. 150% at the start of turn. Additional 30% in chance of evading enemy attacks, including super attacks per artificial life form category ally on the team. That means they can get up to a 70% chance to dodge and an extra 210% attack and defense at the start of turn for a total of 360% at the start of turn. And then they also give artificial life form category allies 3 key and 30% attack and defense for a total of 390% attack and defense at the start of turn, potentially on a full artificial life form team. Right here, launches an additional super attack with a high chance of becoming a super attack. Launches an additional super attack and randomly changes key spheres of a certain type, AGL and int excluded to rainbow key spheres when your team has a cell perfect form or a perfect cell attacking in the same turn. So like this on paper, like it doesn't sound terrible, right? You're like, oh man, like 390% at the start of turn, 70% chance to dodge, support, potentially rainbow orb changing. They can quad super, right? Because they can super 2 from their passive and then hit a potential, so they can quad super here. You're like, all right, that's, and they debuff. Like debuffing is good. You're hearing these words and you're like, that sounds pretty good. Until I scroll down here and show you that they're capping out at 700k defense, best case scenario. Like, they got that 70% chance to dodge. I would say a double super, probably pretty common. Triple super, a little bit less common, but still pretty decently common. 600k defense is getting you nowhere. If these guys get touched at all, they are being turned into ants. They are being squashed, whenever Gohan uppercuts that like Cell Junior and just like kicking them in half and stuff like that. That is what will happen to these guys if they get touched by any boss. So I would say maximize their dodge, give them full dodge, because if they get touched, they will, you know, they probably have more tech than a lot of artificial life forms right now. But, I mean, because listen, 70% chance to dodge, that is pretty good. That is good. Like they've got the dodge chance. Give them full dodge. You'll have a shot. But yeah, I mean, listen, whenever you're capping out at 700k defense after a quad super, not exactly a good sign. There's going to be a lot of turns where these guys have 500k defense for a lot of people, and they get one shot off the field. So you guys can let me know how it's going to go for you with this. But yeah, not like, you know, I look at 16 and I'm like, all right, you know, he's got something. And I look at these guys and I'm like, you know, they do have dodge. They do have dodge. It will probably be easier to use the Cell Juniors in difficult content than 16. But, like, I don't know. This is not inspiring confidence in me. AGL is a good typing to be, though, right now. So maybe I'm being too hard on him. Maybe. You guys let me know. You guys let me know what you think. Last up, we have AGL Super Vegeta. This guy blows. I know he's a SUB-EZA, like, old-ass unit from 2018. I get it. Trust me, I get it. 150% at the start of turn. 100% when performing a super attack. If HP is 50% or less, when performing that super attack, it's a guaranteed crit. Okay? Oh, by the way, no defense on super attack, so yay. Launches an additional attack. There's a great chance of becoming a super attack. Reduces damage received by 30%. Additional 20% damage reduction when HP is 70% or less. Additional 20% when HP is 50% or less. Additional 20% when HP is 30% or less. So that would cap out at, what is that, 20. So that would be 50, 70, 90% damage reduction if your HP is very low. So, I mean, this is something, but it is an HP restriction. And HP restrictions are not consistent. So, yeah. All allies key +1, 25% attack and defense. That's good. Additional 2 key and 25% attack and defense for these typings right here. So he's giving himself 3 key and 50% attack and defense. That's pretty good. And then he weakens regeneration. I mean, that's just an old thing. So let's go ahead and look at his calcs. Again, pretty simple. Here's his defense, 200% leader skill. Here's his links. I gave him both. You're probably not ever going to get both of those activated, so probably the more realistic scenarios to do this. But, you know, let's have some hope that he can get over 400k defense. And, yeah, 200% at the start of turn, so you multiply by 3. 100% on super, so you multiply by 2. That's it. This is it. 60% support, he caps out at 500k defense. That is it. That is all. That's it. No more. So, oh, wait, did I forget his support? Am I dumb? No, I'm right. 150% plus 25 plus 25 is 200. Yeah, so there we go. See how it just kind of gradually gets worse? I don't know. I don't know what to think about these guys. I kind of made a joke about them on Twitter that, like, they're not going to help with the artificial life form run, but, I mean, they are a 70% chance to dodge unit, so I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow with some SUB-EZA content.